Hey there, you're watching Go on Shaw TV, where we're heading into vacation land. Well, hello there. You are watching Go on Shaw TV, and we are here at Vacation Land, an exhibit at the Alberni Valley Museum of our history, of the Alberni Valley's history. And Jamie Morton, you're going to tell me a little bit about it. How did this come about?
A little bit. We wanted to do something new and something different based on local history, based on the environment, the beautiful place that we all live in. But we didn't want to focus on the industrial history that's so much focused on through our heritage programs and so forth. Everybody knows about logging and fishing and the industrial activities that have taken place in the region. We wanted to focus on non-industrial use of the area and the way that people both locally and from outside have enjoyed the beautiful environment, the hiking, fishing, hunting, swimming, boating, etc., that makes the area special and has made it a destination, made it known as Vacation Land at one point. There was also a promo that called it the Lake Country at one point, focusing on Great Central, Sprout Lakes, etc., and Cameron Lake as areas that people were looking at for destination vacations.
And you know, walking around this exhibit, I can't help but notice how many artifacts people have kept over the years and contributed to this exhibit. People hold on to this memorabilia.
It's true. It's things that people like. They don't use them that often, maybe. Things like hiking and hunting gear or sketching gear is something that they use for a period of time, maybe seasonally, for year after year after year, but you do put it in the attic, you save it somewhere, and a lot of this has come out of the woodwork, so to speak, and has become part of the exhibit we've got here now.
And it is such an exciting exhibit. We're going to be looking around and showing you some of these artifacts that came out of the woodwork in just a few minutes. But before we do that, do you have a fruit tree or a berry bush that needs picking and maybe you don't have time to do it? Well, Jenny Fortin has an option for you.
This little guy sure likes apples. While his sister, well, she prefers the plums.
It's actually really yummy.
With such a wide variety of fruit available at this time of year, I'm curious, what's your favorite?
Oh, you can give me black cherries any day. Yep. Black cherries, blackberries, cherry, yep, everything.
I love all fruits. Berries are my favorite, like cherries and strawberries and blueberries, whatever, but fruit, any kind of fruit.
There's no shortage of fruit in the Alberni Valley. In fact, one local resident seems to have a bit of an orchard growing in her backyard.
Yes, a big crop of apples this year. We're trying to stay on top of it if we can. Spring seemed to come awfully early this year, and I think all the trees are pretty happy about it by the looks of it.
But Joanne says that she couldn't possibly consume this much fruit herself, and she certainly doesn't want to see it go to waste.
I think I got that from my parents. It's just not right to have something go to waste if it can be used.
So that's why Joanne decided to pick up the phone and call in the troops.
Alberni Valley Gleaning project has been around for 5 years now, which is a great community project to help make use of the fruit that is available in the valley, to share it amongst people that want to use it, and also help homeowners that maybe don't have the physical ability or the time or energy to pick their fruit. And another real benefit of the project, of course, is to reduce bears, so to make sure that fruit is cleaned up and not just left around.
Today's pickers include a handful of people that are crazy about fruit, are happy to help pick, and are keen on getting the job done.
As a pick leader, I go down to the Dry Creek Garden, pick up the ladders, the boxes, the pick bags, and bring them all to the site, and supervise the divvying up of the product, usually 1/3 homeowner, 1/3 donated, 1/3 is shared among the gleaners. And then you go ahead and start making some phone calls to see which charity organization wants the food.
There's so many people that could use this fruit, and I know that we've dropped fruit off at Bread of Life and at ACOS, and they're so appreciative for it. So I'm happy to be part of this, very happy.
Over the past few years, the Gleaning project in Port Alberni has grown and is now making a substantial impact in the valley.
This year we have over 50 volunteers who are actively going out and engaging in picks across the community. And we've had so far over 30 picks this season and picked well over 2,000 pounds of fruit by the end of July.
If you are interested in the project or getting some fresh fruit for yourself, visit the Alberni Valley Gleaning website. For Go on Shaw TV, I'm Jenny Fortin.
Hockey skates. They're tough and sharp and can move with speed and grace across the ice. A lot like some of the women who lace them up.
I love hockey more than anything. You learn so much about yourself and you meet new people. It's an unreal experience.
An unreal experience that is shared by so many young women. And although they all came to the game in different ways, there is one common thread in their stories. They started off watching the boys play.
Yeah, I started because my brother, he really got me into playing hockey, watching him on the ice. So yeah, now I'm 17 and 12 years are already passed by.
I played guys growing up. This is actually my first year playing female hockey, so like I've always kind of just been one of the guys, and that's kind of how it's always been.
How it's always been, but not necessarily how it is. These girls are all taking part in the West Coast Hockey Prep Camp, an elite hockey camp in the Alberni Valley that, among other things, offers some of the best women's hockey coaching in the world.
It's a tribute to the ownership and what they put on, and it's a quality camp. But for me to welcome all these great coaches and players into kind of my backyard where I grew up, it's very special. I kind of wake up every day and go, when I'm here for the month, and go, kind of how did this happen?
It happened in large part because of the facilities available. Facilities that allow a school of this caliber to flourish, attracting NHL coaches, college scouts, and Olympic-level athletes.
I think the reputation of the camp has really gained momentum as we go into this ownership's in year 7, I believe, 6 on the female side, and I think it's just gaining momentum as we go forward.
And also gaining momentum among local players who are taking advantage of this opportunity in their hometown. In fact, all 3 Alberni Valley girls we interviewed for this story have been offered hockey scholarships to the University of Alberta in Edmonton, to Dartmouth College, and to Harvard. Not bad for small-town girls who just love hockey. But then, female hockey is growing in popularity everywhere. And when I asked Marina why she thought this was happening, her answer was pretty clear.
Female game's a little more fast. It's a little more skill-driven, a little more, I guess, we're more of a finesse game, and the guys are a little more of the brawn, you know, going out there and hitting kids, so.
Okay, you just said the women are better hockey players.
I don't know, I won't come and say that, but.
Okay, she didn't say it, and I'm not going to say it, but it is kind of out there. For Go on Shaw TV, I'm Nancy Wilmot. You know, the West Coast Hockey Prep Camp just keeps growing and growing and growing every year, and I'm sure it brings in millions of dollars. Most people, unless they're associated with the hospitality industry or the camp itself, don't realize how many people are here. I think the powers that be should maybe commission a study to figure how much money sports tourism like this actually brings into our valley. And you know, that kind of segues right into our story, tourism, because we are here at the Alberni Valley Museum talking about Vacation Land, this very cool exhibit of What brought people to the Alberni Valley to recreate, to enjoy the outdoors in years past? I'm here with Kirsten Smith. And Kirsten, this must have been so fun to assemble these artifacts into this exhibit.
It's always really rewarding to do things that concentrate on the unique history of the valley.
And we are in front of something pretty cool. Where did this bed come from?
This bed is from the Cameron Lake Chalet. It's actually the first artifact that was donated to the museum. It was purchased by Helen Ford, great art supporter in the community, and given to the museum. And it's been on display for decades up in the furniture display, but you might not have noticed it because, you know, it's in the corner, it's just sort of sitting there, but we've pulled it out, we've made it up, and it's a beautiful bed, part of a dresser set from the Cameron Lake Chalet.
And I actually think that is what a good exhibit does. It pulls in disparate objects and puts them together to tell a larger story.
Yeah, well, I mean, we've got 5,000 objects always on display, but there's so many it's hard to see. So yeah, we've pulled out some really unique pieces. Right here, we've got a chair from the Cameron Lake Chalet. We've got the original station sign that used to hang on the side, as well as the bed and dresser set.
And, you know, before the cameras went on, we were looking at some woolen bathing suits. They're pretty cool.
There's some lovely bathing suits. There's sort of two of them, they're all full length. Two of them are men's, all with little skirts, and then there's one lovely little, the woolen lady suit.
I think we could probably rock that one.
I think we could.
I think it would work today. Now, we're going to talk a little bit more about the exhibit, pull in a few more pieces, a little bit more threads of the story to tell you about. But before we do that, we're going to head down to Art Avenue with Melissa Martin.
Welcome back to another edition of Art Avenue, again coming to you from another location. Right behind me is one of our latest art applications or art installations right here in the Alberni Valley. Our current exhibit at the Roland Art Center, so I'll get right into it, is with Julian Grocott, and that runs until August 26th. And our last tea on the terrace is August 25th, and that's with Paul Krug. So if you're interested, he sells out, so tickets are still available at the Roland Art Center. Also too, our pool unveiling will be taking place in September, so that's our phase 2, and I'll give you more information about that. There's some 16 local artists who have taken part in this year, so don't miss out on that. And we're also having another fundraiser at the Roland Art Center for the Community Arts Council. Some musicians, 12 local musicians, are getting together to do a Music in the Garden, and that's going to take place on September 18th, which is a Sunday, and that's from 1 until 5. Admission is going to be by donation, and there's going to be hoagies or smokies available and chili. So if you're interested, contact me at the Roland Art Center. The Alberni Valley Museum presents the Alberni Film Festival, and that will be taking place shortly. It's coming to town very quickly. That's taking place at the Landmark Cinema Paramount Theatre, and that's on Sundays at 5 p.m. and the first one begins on Sunday, August 21st with Love and Friendship. So for more information, there are passes available, or you can buy them individual tickets at the Alberni Valley Museum, so stop by and get your tickets today. Also, Timber Choir, they're looking for new members. So if you're interested in singing and taking part in this wonderful choir, contact Pat Ben at the number provided as well as the email. So if you love to sing, Timber is the place to be. And here's what's happening at Shars Landing and Public House. Right over here at Shars Landing, Wednesday, August 24th, is Lindy Voppenford. Now, I hope I said that right. Hopefully no one comes at me and attacks me, but they are the CBC radio phenomenon folk. And again, that's happening on August 24th. And a bunch of community events that are taking place there. On Sunday, August 21st, there's 2 events. Lounge music with Port Alberni's own Brett Muirfield Jazz, and then in the evening, Motown Social. So if you're interested in any of those, stop by Shars Landing today for more information. Well, that's it for another edition of Art Avenue, but a few reminders before I go. The Roland Art Center will be shut down for its annual summer closure, and that begins on August 30th and reopens on September 13th. And in the meantime, we also have a call to artists out there, and that is we're looking for 8x10 line drawings for a sort of an adult coloring book. So if you're interested in that, stop by the Roland Art Center for your application. As well as I want you to mark your calendars for November 20th. I know it's a long way away, but the Community Arts Council is having a fiddle and dance step concert, and it's a family group from back east. They do Celtic and fiddles and all of that. Tickets will be available at the Roland Art Center in September. So until next time, I'm Melissa Martin for Art Avenue.
Creativity comes in many forms. But with few exceptions, there is a commonality between them all. As Kristen Hunt knows only too well, creativity needs room to happen.
I have no space to create art, and to be able to get into a space where I can feel creative and I can bring all my stuff out and not have to worry about, cleaning up the dining room table at the end of the day.
Yes, studio space, a place to paint or carve or perform or even to write. A space that Gwyn Hunt envisioned as part of an artist's collective, a concept that sprang to life when the perfect retail space became available.
I just went, oh, well, let's open an art center. So I called a few people and we had a couple of meetings, and everybody was pretty excited about the idea of forming an artist collective.
What they formed was the Art Matters Art Center, a gallery and collective, offering members access to studio space and the ability to sell their work in the gallery.
We've got all of this back area that we can work in. In the back here we have a courtyard as well, which is beautiful on sunny days. You can set up your easel out there. We're hoping maybe to host a carver out there at some point. All of this space can be turned into a workshop space. It's just a matter of, getting in here and doing it.
And the sky is pretty much the limit for what can be done. Plays, spoken word performances, workshops, really anything in the creative realm that needs space.
It's really just to make you part of a group, so you can come together and have other people to talk to and bounce ideas off of. We're really wanting this to be a very social place.
People are looking forward to having a place where we can meet, network, and and already we're meeting other artists. And hey, I've got 5 wooden doors in my back room, and I've got 5 gallons of pink paint. You want to trade? And so things like that are already happening.
Sharing ideas and sharing space. It seems clear from the artists who have already joined that the concept is a good one.
I've always wanted to be in a collective. Don't know why no one's done it before, but an artist collective really makes sense for this community.
I do think that this complements the other venues that we already have. It just gives an extra space. And now we're at the bottom of the Rotary Arts District, and the Rollin Arts Center is at the top, and it's just kind of a nice walk for everybody.
The Art Matters Art Center is located at 5417 Argyle Street. For more information, visit their Facebook page or just stop by the center. They'd love to tell you about it. For Go on Shaw TV, I'm Nancy Wilmot. I've been walking around the exhibit, and there's not many places you'll find a sign that says, "Do not touch the cougar." Well, I'm not going to touch the cougar, but I'm going to keep browsing. We're going to take a bit of a break, so please stay with us. We'll be right back. Well, welcome back. You are still watching Go on Shaw TV, and we are still here in Vacation Land, this wonderful exhibit at the Alberni Valley Museum that pays tribute to our tourism, our outdoor recreational past. And Jamie, we're standing in front of a recreation of Klitza Lodge. This is kind of where it all began.
Yeah, the concept for the exhibit started because we had some wonderful interior shots of Klitza Lodge, a lot of information about it. It's one of the kind of icons of tourism in the valley. And a lot of people remember it fondly. The whole Sprout Lake tourism thing circles around Klitza Lodge to a large extent. We also had our wonderful donation in the fall of 2014 of the Emily Carr oil painting of Klitza Mountain. And it was the two of these things that kind of drove this exhibit's development.
And it's funny because I didn't grow up in the Alberni Valley, but I've heard so many stories about Klitza Lodge, surrounding Klitza Lodge. It must have been fun to recreate this era in history.
Very much. It was really a golden age of tourism in the Alberni Valley. It started with the road and the railway, both arriving 1911, 1912. All of a sudden, people could get here fairly easily from the rest of Vancouver Island, from the rest of the world, and they came. And it required destination resorts. Places like Klitza Lodge, the Cameron Lake Chalet was initially a destination resort. It was the end of the track. People would go hiking, go fishing from there. Likewise at Klitza Lodge, it was the experience of being in the wilderness, but fairly accessible wilderness, that made it attractive. It started to fade away a little bit when the highway went out to the west coast. And all of a sudden, we became more a stop on the way to somewhere else, rather than a destination area for tourism.
Well, there you go. It's come full circle. Here we are working very hard to create destination tourism in the Alberni Valley again, kind of using our steam train again as a base to pivot off of, but including all of these wonderful outdoor activities, this wonderful area we live in.
Well, it's true, and people that live here know about this. Perhaps one of the things we need to do is make the rest of the visiting public know more about the attractions of the area. The natural history, the human history is fabulous. So we're trying to reflect on that a little bit with this exhibit.
Well done, Jamie. And you know what? A good place to start. You've got visitors to the Alberni Valley, or maybe it's just you and your family looking for something to do. Stop in, check out what the Alberni Valley has offered for generations. Thank you so much, Jamie.
Thanks, Nancy.
Now we are almost at the end of our program, but before we say goodbye, we're going to head downstairs to a dinosaur camp. Jamie Collins had a smile that could light up a room. A farm boy from Port Alberni, he gathered friends wherever he went, and when he was still just a youngster, he came across what would be one of the great loves of his life, a sport that he embraced with all the energy and optimism that went along with that great smile.
When he was about 12 or 13 years old, he came home with a skateboard, and we didn't understand it as a sport at all. And he started knocking holes in the drywall, and it became evident pretty quick that it was a real passion for him, and he excelled at it.
Not everyone is good at everything, and he found something he was really good at, and he wanted to share that with others.
To say he excelled at it is almost an understatement. He was great, and he did share it with pretty much everyone he met. He partnered with his longtime friend Brandon Wells to create a business called Instrumental Skateboards, and went on to offer summer ramp camps in the Alberni Valley, always reaching out to involve more youngsters in the sport he loved.
Jamie was just such a people person. He just really brought the whole island together. Every community of skateboarders knew Jamie.
And then, tragically, in August of 2012, that bright light that was Jamie Collins' life came to a sudden end in an accident on the Kennedy River.
Probably the hardest moment that any of us have ever been through, I think. But with that being said, we've all worked pretty hard to make sure his legacy stays alive.
His legacy, a legacy that seemed to take on a life of its own, even as those who loved him best were grieving.
After his passing, we heard from so many young people that came by to talk to us and just say, you know, Jamie taught me to skate. Jamie took me under his wing. Jamie made me feel good. And we realized then, even more than we did before, even just how involved he was.
Donations began to pour into a Jamie Collins Legacy Fund, a fund that his family decided should reflect the things that Jamie cared about, young people pursuing their passions.
We now just have a sustaining fund, and we support cultural, educational, and athletic activities for youth in West Coast communities, mostly through Parks and Rec, but programs at the Roland Arts Centre for kids, anything that will help kids find their passion.
Dinosaur camps, writing workshops, and of course skateboarding, programs that are chosen by the family to be paid for by the Legacy Fund.
The Jamie Collins Foundation supports a lot of programs that Parks and Rec puts on. A lot of this couldn't be happening without their support. The kids love it. It gets kids a chance to do things that Jamie really loved to do.
But there's one more huge part of the equation, the annual Ramp Camp, a free weekend of skateboard lessons and family time at the Collins farm, a celebration of everything that mattered most to Jamie.
Family, the farm, and then skateboarding. That's pretty much what his whole life was about. This is something we actually talked a lot about when we were kids, is basically having a spot like this. We've always done ramp camps for kids. We've always tried to support the community with them supporting us, and to see this kind of all come together is pretty special.
Nobody keeps score, everybody's supportive, everybody will show you how to do something else, and when you land that particular move you're working on for the first time, there's a whole bunch of people there cheering you on, no matter how well or poorly you did.
Over 70 youngsters attended this year's ramp camps, and hundreds have taken part in the various programs supported by the Jamie Collins Legacy Fund. All of it keeping alive the memory of the young man who was loved so well by so many.
He was such a beautiful person that, you know, when you lose somebody you love, it's pretty crazy to kind of like process. So it takes a long time, and basically Jamie brought so many people together. So it's pretty cool to see it manifesting itself for sure.
For Go on Shaw TV, I'm Nancy Wilmot.
Hey crew, it's Gavin down at the aquarium. Next creature we're going to spotlight is our local wolf eel that we have here. So the wolf eel we have in the aquarium is a baby, and a fun fact about them is that they can grow to be about 6 to 10 feet long when they're full size. Their lifespan is kind of undetermined as they're a relatively new species. Their reports are out of California. They're around 20 years old in captivity, but in the wild we're estimating that they're going to live quite a bit longer than that. So their main diet consists of all kind of hard-shelled organisms like sea urchins, other crabs, other smaller crustaceans, and that's why they kind of look rather violent. However, they're really, really friendly towards all divers. So if you want to know anything more about wolf eels or anything else at the aquarium, come on down and visit us at the Harbor Key. Thanks.
That does bring us to the end of another edition of Go on Shaw TV, the Vacation Land edition right here at the Alberni Valley Museum. And I've got a secret to tell you. If you're a Pokemon player, there's a Pokestop located right here. Until we meet again, be good to each other.